I will try to divide my presentation in three basic segments. In the first segment, I will try to look at the global scenario on the BPO, the main theme of this seminar. In other words, the demand side of the BPO business. The second part, I'll take an overview of the supply side, meaning that what are the opportunities are there for Bangladesh or many other countries who are in the BPO business these days. And in the last segment, I'll try to highlight some of the ways we can present ourselves as an attractive destination for gainful partnership in the global network. I must admit at this point that my perspective would be of a casual observer with very little expertise on this subject. So if you hear anything that you don't like, please forgive me. Now, on the global perspective, I would say that I see BPO as a growing business with a huge future. And let me tell you a couple of things, particularly three things, I think the global BPO business. Number one is that growing skepticism about the process of globalization. The trend of growing interdependence is unmistakable. We are getting increasingly interdependent on each other. And secondly, the technology has deepened the global connectivity, which is practically inseparable. Thirdly, the search for efficiency, innovation, and strategic priorities compels the global companies to look at the BPO as an essential and convenient solution. Indeed, the developed and developing countries are now willingly sitting at the two ends of the same spectrum. One cannot survive or thrive without the other. Consequently, BPO business has been thriving. In 2025, this year, the total global BPO market is around $281 billion, and it is projected to grow to $400 billion by 2032, with an annual growth rate of around 7 to 9%. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you look at the BPO market, I see some of the noteworthy trends. What are the trends globally? So, first one is that this business, the BPO business, is completely knowledge-based process. Only those who have the capacity or knowledge will benefit from that. And secondly, it is also a global process. When I was doing my small research, I was struck by the fact that unlike the, say, RMG business, the BPO business has become a global race. Practically all regions of the world are now trying to get into the business, and that has made the race more competitive for us. And third, the market will continue to grow as demand for efficiency intensifies. And fourthly, the global BPO industry will be shaped by three emerging trends. One is the advancement in technology, which is growing phenomenally fast. Second is like AI and automation. And the second thing is the remote work nature. The work is now becoming more remote based, and the greater emphasis on data security and sustainability. And there are various areas which are now getting priority. For example, IT telecommunications, healthcare, human resources management, procurement, legal matters, customer service, among others. And knowledge process outsourcing is another area to note. Now on the Bangladesh side, if you look at Bangladesh, just a few points. Number one is that Bangladesh is emerging as a new hotspot of BPO outsourcing, being located at almost the center of fast-growing BPO business in the world. Last year, Bangladesh exported slightly below $1 billion from this sector, and one of the most advantages that Bangladesh enjoys is its low-cost labor, which is in abundant supply. In addition, Bangladeshis are also quick learners, and rapid spread of digital services across the country has indeed facilitated the creation of a supportive workforce And during the last 10 years, I must admit that the BPO's ICT sector in Bangladesh grew about 40% following the digital initiative to facilitate new market for SMEs, boost exports and employment in information and communication technology. Secondly, what is important to know is the government also recognizes the value of BPO. The very presence of high-level government officials here is a testimony to that. And government has accordingly set up a few supporting policy framework to facilitate this business. And also they have developed tried to develop the infrastructure such as the high-tech park and upgrade and trying to update the regulatory and financial mechanism to support this sector. And the last one I should say that the business community in Bangladesh is also taking interest and initiative, and I was really impressed by what BACO has done to really popularize or bring this business to the front line of attention. Now, moving forward, what can we do? And dear friends, now how we can move forward? And since the theme of this session is global partnership and the future of outsourcing, diplomatic perspective, it gives us some idea about what can we expect from this this session. Let me build up my suggestion into 4 blocks. Number 1, when we talk about how can we build up our partnership, I would highlight 4 points. I will start with the domestic front. What do we mean by domestic front? I would say we need to build up a domestic front. And as I said, domestic coordination is the key for success of any BPO business, like any other business. Unfortunately, from my own experience in the government and now outside the government, my feeling is that this coordination is in short supply in Bangladesh. And whether we do diplomacy, whether we do business, whether we do manpower things, I think there is practically no coordination, I would say, at the national level. And we must improve the domestic coordination mechanism here. Honorable former minister is here. I would request him that whenever the new government comes into power, I think they should pay more attention to this area, because we have many areas connected to the outside world, but there is no coordination between all these teams. So we need to have a domestic coordination. The more coordination we have, the better impact we can create in the outside world, whether in the world of diplomacy, world in commerce, world in technology, wherever or whatever we want to do. The second area where I think we need to look at seriously even at the domestic level is updating the legal and regulatory framework. Whatever regulatory framework that we have at this time, I don't believe that is really facilitating exploring new business opportunities, whether it is DSA, CSA or Data Protection Act, whatever we call it. And we must also remember that the foreign investors always avoid uncertainty and indiscretion in decision or discretion in decision making and legal gaps. And we need to seriously look at updating them to facilitate the flow of FDI and technology and forge sustainable partnership in the global market. Education and skills area, that's another area. We must also reform our education system to produce multilingual and technology-oriented workforce. With only 1% of people understanding or speaking English in Bangladesh is not an incentive to attract either the BPO or any other business with foreign links. It is therefore important that innovation, again, what is required in the BPO business, particularly in the digital age, mainly comes from good quality education. Then there is another area where I think we need to pay some attention, which is, I call it cultural handicap. Our cultural handicaps which are militant against a lot of our opportunities. Let me give you an example. We had to lose GSP or get GSP suspended back in 2013 in the United States market. And I can tell you from my own experience It is because the US thought that we were not truthful about our commitment on labor rights. So we think it is okay, but US doesn't think it was okay, and they believe that we are not telling the truth. So culturally it is okay for us, but it's not okay in the outside world. So when we talk about partnership, work with outside world, we must come out of this cultural handicap. We have to update our vision about that. And the last thing I would say that our labor is our main source of business. But now I must tell you that we must move from low-cost labor to productive labor. It is important us to move away from the concept of low-cost labor force to efficient and productive labor force. While the cost competitiveness is an important element in BPO business, delivering the services efficiently and satisfactorily also build up reputation in this sector. Therefore, massive reform in education sector and skills level can help us in this regard. And lastly, I would say responsible business. That means what do I mean about this? About this is all businesses are now moving toward meeting the eco-friendly and socially responsible practices globally. And this could also include building green data centers with efficient, energy efficient and cloud infrastructure, and also following ethical practices of CSR or corporate social responsibility. A recent Deloitte report indicates that 64% of global business now consider sustainability